it's the way the landscape of college basketball has become. You got to adjust to it. It is what it is. It's not going to change. And you can't fight it. You just got to go about your business and try to do the best job you can in terms of keeping your guys, recruiting your guys. And then when, money gets involved and you lose some guys, you just try to do the best job in filling those spots. I think in today's world, it's, you don't build programs anymore. For the most part, you're building teams for every single year, which is a shame, because, what you try to do is you want to build a program that can, can have sustained success. And I think we've done that by, keeping the core, the nucleus of our team. And with this, NIL and portal situation, it's made it a little bit more difficult, and it's just not for us. It's for a lot of mid-major programs, low major programs, even high majors. It's not the way you envision it. When you started in this business, or when I started in the business a long time ago. But it is what it is, and you just got to make the adjustments, and that's what we've tried to do.
Right. And just kind of having said that, I mean, you said it every year. You're used to having, that core back, those guys back from, think of all the senior classes from Andrew and Quan to like Charlon, Matthew, and Marquise, to obviously what these guys were last year, especially. And now, here's a year where you don't have, really anybody back at all, except for, Justin, guys that sat out. And now 3 weeks into practice, having a scrimmage, having some of those things under your belt. Now, how is that part of it gone for you? Just trying to, get 13 new guys into a system and prepared for the start of the season coming up.
Yeah, it's different. Usually you have veteran guys back that know what they're doing, that can, dummy and show the younger guys, how a prep players run or how a defense is run. And now it's, we got, in essence, 12 new guys. Justin played, we got, as I said, a while ago, we got 4 points and 2 rebounds back from last year. Right. And the 2 redshirt guys, Anouar and Brett, they're on the scout team, so they know the scout team's plays better than they know our plays. So it's been an adjustment. It's been much slower. You just can't overwhelm the guys, even though we have some veteran guys. They haven't been in our system. With Moses and Daryl, our veteran guys, but they haven't played in our system, so they're freshmen when it comes to learning, our terminology, all of that stuff. So it's been slower, but as I said before, it's the way it is now, and you got to adjust. And I think our guys have done a decent job of trying to learn what we're trying to teach, and we'll see how it goes.
Right. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Couple questions. First off, you haven't, had a lot of time with so many new players on your team, but what are some of the strengths you've seen so far out of this group of players, and areas where you've seen room for improvement?
With a young group, you're going to have your good days, and you're going to have your bad days. I think they're enthusiastic. There's a lot of energy at practice. Guys are willing to learn and listen. I think we have some athleticism. We got some length, but it's slow. We're still trying to learn, the terminology. And as it's, if you're thinking, while you play, you're going to be a step behind. So the guys have to really get a grasp of what we're trying to do. And, some days are better than others. Some days we do a better job in practice, remembering what we're trying to do and remembering our assignments. But that's just repetition over and over again. And it's still, we've had, whatever it is, 15 days of practice. So we're still in the beginning stages of this whole thing. So the kids, they're trying, they're learning it. Some learn faster than others, and the guys that are learning faster are a little bit further ahead. But we need to get, 8 or 9 guys on the same page. And that's going to take some time.
And what kind of challenge was it for you and your staff to bring in, X number of guys from X number of different programs, and still trying to get them on the same page because the season's 2-3 weeks away at this point?
Yeah, it's, when this whole thing started with the 4 seniors, left and went to other schools, it was really late in the process. So I, kudos to my assistant coaches who did a great job of going out and trying to find guys that, had a lot of success at a lower level. And that's what we've tried to do. We get the Patriot League Rookie of the Year, the Northeast Conference Rookie of the Year, Daryl Banks, who had a really good career at St. Peter's, and, those under the radar type of guys that we feel, have a high ceiling and have a chip on their shoulder and want to play in the Atlantic 10. And so that's what we're trying to do. And it's a challenge. I've never recruited this hard, in May and June in my life, but that's how it is now. It's, there's no months off. The portal is here to stay. NIL is here to stay, so that's the way college basketball is now. And we've got to make that adjustment. And I think we have.
When you and I were going back and forth in Brooklyn last week, you talked about the 3 tests before the season with the intra-squad scrimmage, the secret scrimmage, and then, of course, the Alfred. Just wanted to touch base and see what your biggest takeaway was from that intra-squad scrimmage that happened last week, and if there's any progress. And if you guys
made some progress, but we got a lot of room for improvement. I think that first scrimmage, as a coach and as a player, I think you find out, what you're decent at, what you got to get better at. And we got to, that was, 2 weeks into practice. And, so we got a long way to go. Some, like I said earlier, some guys are a little bit ahead of the other guys. But you need 5 guys playing together and knowing what to do to really have, a good team or a good 5 guys out there. So we're learning every day. Hopefully we get better. That's the goal, coming to practice every day and trying to, get here. And, 2.5, 3 hours later, we walk out that door. Hopefully we're better individually and as a team. And that's the challenge. So it's in the scrimmage, we had some good things and we had things that we have to continue to work on. We're far from a finished product.
Excellent. And I also saw reports that Brett Rumpel suffered a leg injury. Is that a long-term issue?
No, he'll be back. He'll be back. It's hopefully within the next month or so he'll be back and ready to play.
And then finally, you touched on something interesting last week in Brooklyn regarding Chad Venning. I know he didn't see too many minutes at Morgan State and that he slimmed down and that you're trying to get him 15, 20 minutes per game. Do you think there's going to be kind of a revolving door with your big men so far? And I know over the years, you and Coach Kern have done a great job of developing the big men, and you've got 3 solid ones coming in. Any real comment on your big men, your forwards?
I think, we got some physical guys. And just like all the other guys are still trying to learn the system and where to be, both offensively and defensively. But yeah, we won't have one guy that will be playing 35 minutes a game. It will be by committee. And I think, Max and Chad and Meliana are coming along, and, we all have to get better. But they're going to be, it's going to be a rotation, and hopefully we can get some good minutes out of them, good production out of all 3 of those guys.
Thanks so much, Coach. We'll talk before St. Francis.
Okay, Jack. Thanks.
Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Coach, for your time today. Just kind of following up on a couple of questions before. You mentioned obviously a lot of roster turnover. Was there any hope or expectation that any of the 5 would come back, and was there any disappointment when they didn't?
Yeah, all the way through, it seemed like they were all going to come back, other than, Jalen had told us, back in January early on that he was going to turn pro. So yeah, it was back and forth the whole summertime, and, not the summertime, the spring. And all 4 of them decided to do it really, really late. But that's part, I don't begrudge them. That's the way the business is set up now. I don't blame them. I blame, the whole, how we set this whole NIL thing up. But no, you're always disappointing when you lose, 4,000-point scorers and, 4 guys that have done so much for our program and for the university. But if someone offers me that amount of money, I'd probably leave too.
Sure. And, when you go from a group that's so experienced to a group that's so young, as a coach, how difficult is it for you to transition from that?
Oh, it's difficult. It's like going in and being a teacher and having a whole new class, and they don't understand what 1 + 1 is, and you're trying to teach them calculus, so it's a challenge. But I think we as coaches look at ourselves as teachers, and we're trying to teach the game of basketball to them, how to play, where to go, and all that. We're trying to teach our system, and our system isn't the easiest thing to learn. So there's a lot of film study goes on, and those guys living with the assistant coaches trying to learn what we expect them to do. So it's a challenge from a coaching standpoint. But it's a challenge from a player standpoint too. They don't have anybody to look at to learn from. And good programs and good teams always have veteran guys that show the younger guys this is how it's done. And we don't have that this year. And so that's a huge challenge.
And last one for me, what role is a guy like Daryl Banks going to take here early on, and what's the importance of him coming in with the big game experience that he got there down the stretch at St. Peter's?
Yeah, I think Moses and Daryl were named captains, and I think that's for a reason. I have nothing to do with it. I think those guys in the team know and understand and appreciate what they've done at St. Peter's and at Hartford. And those 2 guys are going to be main guys. They have to play well, for us to be successful. You're always going to rely on older guys, and those are the 2 oldest guys that we have, and they've done it. No, they haven't done it in the Atlantic 10. They've done it in, like Daryl did it against, Kentucky, and, but now we have to, do it against, teams like that every night. So that's the challenge. And I think that's the reason why they came. They want to see if they can do it, and they have the confidence that they can do it, and we have confidence in them. But those 2 guys have to be our leaders and really have to play well for us to have success.
How would you like to wrap up your career here as a coach?
Winning the Atlantic 10 and going to the NCAA tournament. That's what I would love to have happen. Hopefully go deep into the NCAA tournament. I think that's, any coach wants to end their career on a high note. I'm not sure when this is going to end. Hopefully it's more than 1 year. But I have no. I'm not looking to retire. I'm looking, it's almost like this has re-energized me a little bit, in that, there's so much more teaching going on, and this whole portal NIL thing. And so in a way it's disappointing that we lost those guys, but in a way it's, you have a whole new team and you're trying to build something from scratch again. And, and that's a great challenge. And that's something that I, myself and our staff look forward to trying to do. And that's where it's, we built this thing, and now it's, everybody left, because of the portal and NIL and all that stuff. And, so now we're starting from scratch, and our goal is to build this thing like we have over the last, 15 years.
Right. And you've been here a long time, obviously. Would you like to retire at St. Bonaventure? Is that something you're
yeah, that's the goal.
About?
That's the goal. Yeah, I've been really lucky. Most people in this business, most people don't last this long, over a whole career. Just in college basketball. And I've been lucky to be here for 16 years, and you never envision, you being any place for 16 years. But especially in the college basketball or college athletics, so we have, deep roots here. We have, I have, great friends, and I love the university and in the program, and hopefully I can end my career here.
Yeah. And finally, just about the exhibition season and early season, how is the approach different from years in the past when you had guys that you could count on and a lot of guys coming back? How do you approach that differently this year?
Yeah, it's so much more teaching. It's like in the preseason before practice officially started. We put in our drills, trying to explain the drills, so we don't have to explain them in practice, and have an hour explaining drills, and now we only have an hour to practice. So yeah, it's been a huge adjustment. Showing them how it's run, not in person but on tape. And like I said earlier, usually you take your 4 or 5 veteran guys and say, all right, here's slant 2, and those guys run slant 2, and then you put your new guys in there, and they look at them, they learn from watching. But there's nothing to watch now, so it's like you put your first team in there and you're trying to teach them how to do it, and then the second team goes in and follows the team that you just taught how to run a certain play or how to guard a ball screen or whatever. So it's, like I said earlier, it's different. It's been a challenge, but it's in the end, we're teachers, and we're trying to teach them the best we can in a short period of time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Louis, go ahead.
All right, Coach Schmidt, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. My first question is, given this is a team with a lot of new players, how have you and your coaching staff tried to build chemistry among the players and teach them about the culture of Bonaventure basketball?
I think, just the way we practice, individuals, the weight training, the commitment that's a part of it, it's huge. And, I think the way we practice, practicing hard, and, and the leadership initially, usually it comes, like I said, from a veteran guy, or the veteran guys are showing the younger guys what to do. And now it's really coming from the coaching staff, especially early, and then I think as we get along in the year, then the captains and the guys that are playing a lot will take ownership of the team. But right now, those with Daryl and Moses, they're still learning, so it's hard to lead if you're still learning. It's hard to tell someone what to do when you're unsure of what you're doing. So the leadership really comes from the coaching staff right now. And as we go forward, hopefully the guys will get a great grasp, and then the leadership will come from within. But that's what we're trying to do. And in the summertime, you take guys over to the house, and we had the team over to the athletic director's house, so you do some stuff off the court as well, to build that team chemistry. And the guys, I think one thing that it seems like they all get along, which is really, really important. And they're always together. So, a lot of the team building is done off the court, in the dorms, so it's sometimes it's out of my sight. But it's, the team chemistry is so important. I think the closer you are off the court, the closer you're going to be on the court, and if you're good friends and you trust each other off the court, you're going to trust them on the court. So that's a big thing, a big part of having a good program and a good team.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the final things I want to ask you is that, you talked about like the whole culture of Bonaventure basketball, the fact, these guys are, a lot of these guys are transfers. How long do you anticipate them to really like trying to adjust to the whole culture of game, this, they've been all over the world and the nation. How you really expect them to pick up on that?
I think one of the reasons why they came to Bonaventure was because of how important basketball is, and so they understand Bonaventure basketball from looking from the outside, the importance of it. Just being on campus, walking downtown, they understand how important it is. But I think it's you can't really experience it until the games start and you see the Riley Center, and you see how important it is, to the alums. And when you go on the road and you see a bunch of Bonaventure fans, then you realize like, wow, this is neat. This is important. This is what, Bonaventure is all about. So it's, like I said, chemistry is important. Getting to know each other is important. So it's a work in progress.
All right. Coach Schmidt, thank you so much for speaking with us, and I'm just going to leave it off there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask about Daryl Banks, one of your two team captains, and you already talked about what he brings to the program from a leadership perspective, but with all the tools he brings as a scorer, as a shooter, as a defender, how does Daryl's skill set fit into your system?
He's got a great skill set. He's got great mannerisms. He's got a good, really good IQ for the game. He knows how to play. He can shoot the ball. It takes you off the dribble. He's got a solid frame. He knows how to play. He gives our guys confidence. I think, if there's one guy on our team that has done it at a high level, it's him. The game against, Kentucky is always mentioned. And I think our guys know that. So he gives our guys courage, but he can play multiple positions. Like I said, he has a high IQ. He's probably the guy that has grasped the offense and the defense the best so far. But he can shoot a ball from three. He has a middle game. He gets to the basket. He can play multiple positions. He's everything that we thought he would be. And I think the reason why he came here was so he can challenge himself and play in the Atlantic 10 and show people that he's a really good college basketball player. And it just wasn't, one game at Kentucky. I think he's going to show that he's going to be a consistent performer at this level.
And guys like Daryl who have played in the college game, in the Division I game for multiple years, do they have any kind of advantage or head start in becoming acclimated with what you guys are trying to do?
Well, yeah, the guys that have played Division I basketball, they know the importance of hard work. They know what commitment means. So they in terms of that, they're not coming in green, like a high school kid or a prep school kid or even a junior college kid. They understand what it means to be a Division I basketball player and the commitment that needs to be made. But at the same time, they're still trying to learn the system. They're, from experience, they're veterans, but in terms of learning what we at Bonaventure are doing, they're freshmen, so it's going to take them a little bit of time. And like I said, I think Daryl's picked it up quicker than anybody, but I think if you gave him a test right now, I'm not sure he'd get an A on it, where the guys last year, all five of those guys that started last year would get A pluses, because they've been in the system so long and nothing surprised them. Now it's here. It's, playing basketball is easy, but now when you throw on top of it, all the sets that we run and, everything's changed. So there's a little bit of uncertainty. And when you have uncertainty as a basketball player, you're not a very good player, so we got to get that uncertainty out. They have to understand exactly what they need to do. And hopefully we can get there.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
We'll start wrapping up with Coach here. Sam, we'll finish up with you.
Okay, Mark, I wanted to ask you about Kyrell Luc. How do you see him translating from being the rookie of the year in the Patriot League, coming from an area of the country well, being from Massachusetts? How do you see him translating to your level here?
He's going to be a really good player. The point guard position is the most difficult position to play, in our system. He's the quarterback. He needs to know where everybody is. He's a really smart kid. He had a lot of success at Holy Cross. And I think that's what we've tried to do is try to get, we don't have a lot of NIL money. So we try to get kids that aren't looking for the money, but are looking for an opportunity to play at a higher level. And Kyrell, that's, he had a lot of success at Holy Cross, the rookie of the year in the Patriot League. And so far in the first 2 weeks of practice, he's been really good. He's explosive. He shoots it decently. He has a really good feel. He's quick, and he's still trying to learn the system, so it's not like he's, just going to go and not have to think. But he's going to be a really good player for us. And he's one of those guys that we need him to be. a really good player. He had a 1 year under his belt, even though, the Patriot League's not the Atlantic 10, but if you could be the rookie of the year in the Patriot League, you can be a really good player in our league. And we think he will be.
And you've obviously gotten a lot out of that position, especially the last 8 years between Jalen Adams and Kyle. How do you see him kind of fitting into that mold of the guys who came before him at the point guard position?
I think he's going to be a good player. It's hard to say. We've only had 2 weeks of practice. And he's, like I said, he's still trying to learn what to do. But he's athletic, he can get to the paint, anytime. His shot is getting better. He's got to learn the system, but he has a really good feel and understanding of how to play. So we have high expectations for Kyrell. We really think that he's going to be a really good player for us and a good player in the Atlantic 10.
So we're going to be joined by Anouar Mellouk and Daryl Banks here in just a second. And Jack, if you want to go ahead, you can start our questions for the guys. Guys, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anouar, Daryl, great to talk with you guys again. How's it going?
It's going good. Pretty good.
Awesome. I just asked Coach a similar question about your inter squad scrimmage this past weekend. Any takeaways on that inter squad scrimmage to this point, now that we're less than 3 weeks from opening day?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of work to do. It was just the beginning test. Coach said before that was our first test for us. We got a lot of work to do on the offense and defense end. But, we're just coming into practice every day, getting better every day. That's the goal, to help us for that first game opening night.
And then Anouar, obviously you redshirted last year. You're one of the 3 guys returning. How do you see the fellow 9 guys that have come into the program getting acclimated to St. Bonaventure and the basketball team?
I mean, it's been great. Like, everybody has great chemistry together. Everybody look out for each other. We try to pick each other up in practice, on and off the court, and the chemistry is just great. And now it's just a matter of building that chemistry on the court and just playing well together right now.
And then my final question for you guys, obviously Coach Schmidt's system is pretty complex. What are your thoughts on his system at this point, even though you guys are not necessarily seasoned veterans yet?
I mean, obviously it's a great system. I mean, he's been successful for his whole coaching career, especially here. So, it's a lot of stuff. We're all new, so we're all learning every day. We hammer the plays out every day. That's a big factor of our practices. So it's just a repetition of things. It's just getting acclimated to it. But yeah, it's obviously a great system.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Nathan, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for the time. Couple things. First, Daryl, to start with you. Obviously a big jump coming from St. Peter's to St. Bonaventure. What's been the biggest adjustment for you on the court, off the court, anything?
The biggest adjustment, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, I guess like you say off the court, campus wise, like this is a nicer campus and everything like that. But on the court, I've been in college for 3 years now, so I've just been trying to use my experience that I've had playing, translate it over with the guys on the court. But I'm also new to the system, so really just, buying into what Coach Schmidt is saying and just trying to learn everything.
Sure. And when, you're looking to come here, what stood out about Coach Schmidt in this program that said, hey, I want to be here. I want to play for St. Bonaventure?
The family environment that is here. I mean, when they recruited me, I felt it. It was everything was genuine with what they were telling me and what my future goals is for playing basketball. And I just knew that right away that this was the right decision for me.
Sure. And then Anouar, you're one of 3 returners from last year's team. Obviously, you're still in your second year, but what kind of role have you taken on just to help get some of these new guys like Daryl adjusted to St. Bonaventure in this new system?
The seniors last year did a great job of showing us a way how to win and how to go like what they do on a game day and how to go on practice, like going hard every time, and just what this program was about, and just learning from them. Me and the other 2 returners, we just trying to give that to the new guys that came in. And obviously we have guys like DB and Moses. They are experienced in college basketball, so we just trying to combine those 2 things and build our own culture from here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hey guys, Daryl, you mentioned your experience, and you're really the only player here that brings that big time NCAA tournament experience to this program. So what can you bring from a leadership perspective, and also what added weight does the captaincy add to that?
It's the same thing, setting the standard for when we come in for practices. I have to be vocal, being vocal, telling people, how we should approach things, how we should approach practices and everything. And just really just getting guys to buy in, as I'm buying in myself, learning the new system. But it's really just that, me and Moses are pretty much one of the two guys that's played a lot of minutes over the 3 years. So that's really what it is.
And Daryl, Coach Schmidt has praised your on-ball defense, and you're in a system now where defense is valued so highly. What should Bona people know or expect about what you can bring on the defensive side of the court?
I'm someone that likes to get after it on the defensive end. That sets the tone, that sets the energy for the game. Defense is what gets everybody excited, gets everything pumped up. When your defense is going, that's what, wins championships, because offense could go up and down. You never know. Defense is the solidarity to a team. So that's just really what it is. That's how I approach the game.
And for both of you guys, you're coming to a program, a new look team, and a program that's had a lot of recent success. What do you guys feel you need to do to replicate that and keep Bona's recent fortunes going?
It's what we've been saying, really just buying into what Coach Schmidt has to say, because he's obviously had success at this level and for many years now. So once we buy in, we attack every day in practice, working hard, getting better. That's really what it is. That's going to show us success.
Anouar, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just like DB said, basically just working hard, trust the process, trust the system. Like you said, Coach Schmidt been successful many years in this system, so we just gotta buy into it and listen and try to learn as much as we can and bring that over to the season.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, this question's for both players. What is the biggest challenge that comes in transitioning from one program and one culture to a new program and a different culture?
Biggest transition is obviously learning a new place, but then also the coaches have a standard that they set here at this program that when you come in that they're setting that stone and they're explaining it to us. So we're following that and learning to put that together for us, and that's just the culture we're building. So, but yeah, probably just a new place, main difference.
In your impression of Coach Schmidt and getting to know him, what have you learned about his basketball knowledge, and how does he relate to the players?
He's a genius. I can't really say anything else. He's really a genius. He's like a madman with the stats he draws up and everything. He does a lot of homework. He's played the game. He's been, to the leader in Final Four too. He's been in our shoes. So we're able to relate to him that way because he's been in our shoes. He's played at the highest levels. So yeah.
Obviously you didn't play last year, but you are one of the three guys who was around the program, who was part of it, who practiced. And so I'm just wondering how much of an advantage do you think that gives you going into this season now, just in terms of the system and understanding, what a Coach Schmidt team is like, and how do you see yourself fitting into that forward rotation this year? Obviously, there's a lot of new names, players coming from other Division I schools such as Pitt. How do you see yourself fitting into that this year?
To be honest, obviously it gives an advantage. I started playing basketball late, so last year was really good for me, to catch up, IQ wise, and just learning the system a little bit. And there's a lot of competition on the forward spot, and that only makes it great. It makes everybody go even harder. And I'm just here to do whatever coach asks me, and whatever the team needs of me, I'll try and provide that on the court. I just try and do my best.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, I know you've really committed yourself on the defensive end, this year through the first 3 weeks of practice, maybe bringing a little bit of a shot blocking ability. But I think people are intrigued, excited about just the athleticism, the potential, that you bring to this team. What do you feel you bring the most?
Right now, like especially this couple of weeks, I really try to focus on defense because I think that's really can make the difference in the game. I think we really gotta be a great defensive team to win a lot of games, and I just been focusing on that really because, in my opinion, I think I can guard the spot 1 through 4 and even the 5. So I think that adds a little like. It gives us a boost as a team, I guess. And I just try to focus on the defensive end right now, and offense will come along.
Right. Thank you, Anouar. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Daryl, thank you for speaking with us today. My question for you is, you were just named a team captain. And, as a captain, what standards have you really set for yourself, and what examples do you hope to leave on your teammates in your first season, given that you're adjusting to a new system and, you're really looking to set a good example?
First off, it was an honor to be nominated captain by my teammates. The standard, like I have to, in practice and everything, I have to just lead by example. I have to be there for guys because, we're a new team. Everybody's learning, everything's adjusting. So, people are making mistakes, but trying to keep people's heads up during practices and not let people get down on themselves. And really just be there for each and every one of us, even when I'm messing up. But they got my back, I got their back. So that's just how I approach it as a captain.
Yeah, and so you think that given that you guys are a lot of this team is comprised of new players, you feel like even though you're young, it's still important to really just build up that spirit, that chemistry, build up that leadership, no matter what?
Yeah, it's important, just because we're young, that doesn't mean anything. I've been on a young team. My freshman year coming in at St. Peter's, we were a young team. We had a couple of seniors, but mainly a lot of young guys played. So it doesn't matter where it comes from. Like it could come from me, it could come from one of the freshmen on our team. So it doesn't matter. But everybody being there for each other is a real important thing going down the line, going down the road. Because when things get rough, it's gonna be how we respond. If we're able to respond good in practice with each other, then it'll take care of itself in the game.
All right, Daryl, thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sam, go ahead.
Hi, Daryl. I wanted to ask you about Kyrell Luc as a captain, as a backcourt mate, as a fellow guard. Just what are your kind of first impressions of him, and what kind of player can he be for this team?
And Kyrell's an amazing player. I love playing with him. He's a great person on the court, off the court. We're really close. Right away, that surprised me is his athleticism. He's small, but he definitely jumps the highest on the team. He's lightning quick. He can knock down an open shot, and he finds people. He's really good at it. So, I love playing with him. I can't wait till we play these games, be on the court with him. But yeah, he's gonna be great for this league, and he's gonna shock a lot of people.
You said you're really close already. How have you guys kind of tried to build that closeness or chemistry on or off the court?
Yeah. So when we came in for the summer session, that helped a lot for the time period we was here. But naturally, with everybody being new, you would think that it was gonna be kind of hard for people to gel fast, whatever. But naturally, everybody kind of just got along, and we just been building. We hang out all the time, out of practice when we're back in the dorms and everything like that. So that helps, of course. And yeah.
Next, same kind of question I asked to Anouar, just in terms of it's kind of an interesting development with the rotation at the big man spot, at the forward spot. A lot of new guys coming in, a handful of you from Division I, other Division I programs coming in now, trying to carve that place here. Coming from a place like Pitt and having that experience in the ACC at that level, what type of advantage does that give you, coming into this year now, and how do you see your place with this team?
Advantage wise, I feel like, you know, being coached under Coach Capel, he's had a lot of experience. So he's obviously, you know, brought down a lot of new knowledge for all of us. So that's one advantage I definitely feel like I have. On top of that, just going against the best of the best, you know, the ACC is a top league. You're going to see a lot of top big men, you know, that should be, you know, in the NBA or making a lot of money somewhere else. So I feel like just me playing against them and just, you know, the knowledge that Coach Capel gave me is a big advantage.
Right. And then Max, just your journey, you know, to this point, pretty interesting from, you know, Ireland to the ACC to Western New York and you know, other places in between. You know, can you just kind of touch on what that experience has been like for you? You know, just the kind of perspective that it's giving you now coming into St. Bonaventure in the A10 level.
Well, there's been a lot of change in like every situation. And me personally, I believe that change is a great thing because it helps you, you know, grow as a person. It helps you, you know, being able to adapt to different situations helps you grow as a man. So, you know, coming from Ireland to New York wasn't easy. I don't think it'll ever be easy for someone to leave their home and go to a foreign place. So being able to, you know, just get used to the tempo, just a different play style, just the people in general in different places has been a, you know, a blessing because it's helped me get to the point where I am now.
Right. Thank you. And again, appreciate you guys being on. Looking forward to meeting both of you in person and kind of getting to know you throughout the year.
Thank you.
Sam, go ahead.
Hi, Kyrell, when you went in the portal, you obviously went from the Patriot League to the Atlantic 10. It seems like you wanted to go up a level in competition, but how did you I guess why did you want to come to St. Bonaventure? What was it about this school, this place, this team that made you want to be a Bonnie?
I would have to say the culture. Just hearing from other people how a family based in small, so everyone knows each other, and just feeling welcomed on my visit. Everything felt genuine my first time coming up to campus, so that's really what told me like this was a good spot for me, really.
What did you learn about the college game over your first year last year? What were the biggest things you had to learn as a college point guard?
Really just understanding the game as a point guard, knowing when to go in on, knowing when to slow it down. One thing I took was being able to, as a point guard, being able to talk to your coaches, your like mentor, just to see what's like how to really go about a game, really understand how to play it as a point guard, because there's so many things that comes with it as a point guard, not just only scoring. You have to get your teammates involved. So picking up little things on my journey as a freshman last year.
And now you have pretty much all new teammates, guys you met over the summer for the first time. What's that been like as a point guard? You have to be kind of the quarterback of the team and everyone you're meeting for the first time this year.
I feel like like you said, it started in the summer. I feel like when we all met each other, we gelled right away. So like that helped us on and off the court. So right now we're putting it all together and we can see improvement in practice. We have big spurts where we look really good and we're still trying to figure it out. But like, I feel real good about our group right now.
Mm-hmm. And then what's just the biggest challenge about Coach Schmidt's system as a point guard? What's the thing you've had to learn through practice here?
Just making sure you know the plays, from other positions, helping your teammates. Like the coach would say, I'm the quarterback on the court. So I have to let everybody know what I have to do.
So you guys know about the recent success of St. Bonaventure in this program, and as two of the experienced guys coming to this team, leading a completely new group, what do you guys feel you need to do or that you can do to continue that success level that the St. Bonaventure has had over the last decade, really?
I'll go first. I mean, honestly, it's really just as simple as working. Like there's no way around it, honestly. There's no way around the work. I feel like if you put in hours every day, the work will show, and just knowing what you're doing. I believe that, you know, the hard work always prevails. So I believe that if we go out there, give it our all, and we just listen, do as coach says, there's no reason why we shouldn't win games.
Yeah, like Max said, we just listen to what coach has to tell us, and it starts in practice, competing every day with each other, push each other and make each other better. So that's where it starts, is in practice.
JP, go ahead.
Yeah, Kyrell, you're coming into a conference now that has really kind of long been defined by great point guards, and you're coming into a program, you know, that is same thing. Coming off, really incredible stretch of two guys, Jalen Adams and Kyle Lofton, I'm sure you know, who are, NBA caliber players for this program, used to, having the ball in their hands all game. How just exciting of a challenge now is that for you to sort of enter into that situation? And I don't want to say adds more pressure or anything like that on you, but how much do you just embrace that challenge and stepping into the situation that you are now?
I'm still learning, no real pressure. I feel like if I just really study the game, watch film with my coaches, I'll be able to suit myself as a point guard position and help my team be successful, really. So I don't feel any real pressure, anything like that.